This is the Dippit, the world's first two-handed baby weaning spoon and dipper all in one. It's been called by an occupational therapist the best innovation in feeding they'd ever seen. But why did we create a two-handed weaning spoon? First off, it's so that the parent can preload the spoon, hover it in front of their child's mouth, and the child can grab it naturally with two hands and bring it to their mouth down the midline, successfully feeding. Now that's got a whole range of benefits compared to a parent spoon feeding their child, and the child is taking a passive role in that. First off, psychologically, the child's in control of their own intake, which means that they won't ever overfeed themselves. If you're just spoon feeding a child and they're taking a passive role, it's very easy to overfeed. But if they're doing it themselves, then a child will never overfeed. Secondly, again, psychologically, if the child's in control over which foods they're eating and which they're not, that can have some real benefits from a fussy eating, picky eating perspective as well. Then there are the motor skills that they develop. So if you think about a child feeding themselves, they're going to be grabbing the handles of the Dippit with their fingers, developing the fine motor control associated with that can then have knock-on benefits when it comes to using normal cutlery, and even when they're learning to write. There's also then the elbow flexion, the wrist control, the hand-eye coordination, a whole range of areas of motor control that are involved with feeding themselves that are now being developed as well. You'll also notice the dipper on the opposite end of the spoon. Now, this was developed to be like a honey drizzler, actually because my dad is a beekeeper and we were with him while we were developing this product. It's the best shape for picking up a viscous liquid, something like honey or puree or yogurt, and getting a decent volume of that into the child's mouth. Now, the reason for dippers generally is that a child's wrist control develops quite a lot later than their elbow flexion, which means it's actually quite tricky to scoop some food up and then get it to your mouth while keeping that spoon level so the food doesn't all fall off. Whereas with a round dipper, you can dip that in any direction, bring that to your mouth in any way, and the child's then getting, while it might not be a huge volume of food, they're getting some satisfaction, some satiation, they're getting some taste and some enjoyment out of being able to do that and engage in the process themselves. Now, a couple of other really important things about the dipper. First of all, the handles are curved, and that means that the child can get their fingers easily under the edges and pick it up off the table themselves, again reducing any frustration associated with not being able to pick up their cutlery. And finally is that the dipper and the spoon being on a single utensil means that the child can progress forwards and backwards as they wish. So it might be that one day they're using the spoon and the next day they want to go back to using the dipper, and that's absolutely fine. Any engagement with feeding is a positive learning experience for the child. So there you have it, the world's first two-handed spoon and dipper all in one, the Dippit.